Kawhi Leonard's buzzer beater was one of the most incredible shots I've seen since I've started watching basketball. And the Raptors are going on probably to the NBA Finals. I mean, it's going to be a hard-fought series against Milwaukee, and either of them could make it to the Finals. But the big story here is not Toronto. It's actually the Philadelphia 76ers. If the 76ers did not get out of this round, it was most likely that Brett Brown was going to be fired. And looking at the stat sheet, the way it was in Game 7, it looks like a couple moves actually need to be made. Joel Embiid, it's obvious. He is the star of this team. In 43 minutes, Jimmy Butler only had 16 points. Tobias Harris had 15 and 10. Ben Simmons had 13, 5, and 8 in 42 minutes. I mean, for having possibly 4 All-Stars on this team, you would expect more production from them. JJ Redick had more points than each of the other 3 stars, being Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris, and Ben Simmons. Embiid had 21 and 11 in 45 minutes, be it this was a very low-scoring game compared to most of the series. But look at the bench reduction. James Ennis had 6, Mike Scott had 2, and Greg Monroe didn't even score in 2 minutes. The starting 5 accounted for pretty much 90+% of this game, and they couldn't do it. They had 4 All-Stars and JJ Redick. They have a good bench. Nick Stauskas, Greg Monroe, Mike Scott, James Ennis, but they still couldn't get it done. Be it this is a fantastic Toronto Raptors team, but you still have to look at the 76ers team and say, what else do they have to do? Elton Brand made some really big moves throughout the season. He got Tobias Harris, got Jimmy Butler, and gave away a lot of depth. And if you trade for mega stars like this, if you trade away your bench talent for superstars like Butler and Harris, they need to produce. And they're good enough to produce. Jimmy Butler's have been an all-star for years. Tobias Harris on the Clippers proved to be one of the best up-and-coming players in the NBA. And Ben Simmons, I mean, we all know what Ben Simmons is. He can't shoot, but he still should be an all-star and a very big impact player. So you have to do something with Brett Brown. I mean, he's had last season and this season with arguably the second most talented team in the entire NBA besides the Warriors. I mean, the Warriors had 5 All-Stars, the 76ers had 4. And they also had the best big man in the NBA in Joel Embiid. They had a couple of the best two-way players in Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons. They had a scorer in Tobias Harris and possibly the best shooter in the league, JJ Redick. And still, they could not win a second-round playoff series. This honestly felt like a conference finals series. The atmosphere was that way. They played that way. The East is a better conference than the West now. And Philadelphia is going to have to find a way to overcome it. They need to find a different head coach. I mean, you saw the way Joel Embiid was after this game. He went into the tunnel and you could tell it's wearing on him. It's wearing on his body. It's wearing on his mind mentally. He just gave everything he had. You see the conference after the game. Joel Embiid, he was easily somber. You could tell he was just defeated. After the game, Marc Gasol consoled him. Serge Ibaka consoled him. It's honestly sad that when Joel Embiid is surrounded by such amazing talent like they have, that they could not have pulled out this series. And you got to give props to Kawhi Leonard. I mean, he got absolutely zero help in this series. I mean, Kyle Lowry has shown that he cannot be the number 2 guy on the championship team. Pascal Siakam, while great, got injured and became pretty inconsistent for most of this series. He only had 11 points in Game 7. And Marc Gasol, while being a fantastic defender, has not provided the offense that you thought he would. So at the end of the day, when it comes to Philadelphia, they have arguably the second best talented team in the entire NBA. They have a good bench. They have a fantastic home arena, a great crowd, a great basketball city, and a great team. But a team that does not have the leadership or the coaching to be able to contend for an NBA championship yet. If Kawhi moves out west, who knows? Boston will probably be returning at that time. You're still going to have Milwaukee. So it's going to be very interesting to see where the 76ers go from here. I mean, they have some expiring contracts. Tobias Harris's contract, JJ Redick's contract, and a bunch of the bench players are gone. We're going to have to see what they do with Jimmy Butler and whether Ben Simmons can be a vital piece to a championship team. It's been 2 years now, and he still cannot shoot 10 feet outside the basket. It's absolutely ridiculous that a guard of his skill cannot learn how to shoot a mid-range jump shot. But either way, the 76ers are going to be a team to reckon with in the future. But if they don't make a coaching change, if they do not figure out what to do with Ben Simmons, and they can't figure out a way to get their stars to play like stars in games like this, the 76ers will never make it out of the Eastern semifinals, possibly let alone the conference finals.